It's understandable when teams say they want to get off to a fast start, but what qualifies as fast and how many constitutes a start? It's probably not 2 games, but when those 2 games are against a team you've been trying to catch for 3 years, then 2 is probably fast enough. 3 is even faster.
What a treat it has been to watch the Pittsburgh Pirates beat the St. Louis Cardinals the first 2 games of the opening series, the 2016 campaign. Last night in 11 innings, the Jordy Mercer base hit of the Pirates defeated the Redbirds 6-5. Greg Brown along with Steve Blass, happy you can be with us tonight. And Steve, we are so happy to see Gregory Polanco kind of leading the way the last couple of days, the first 2 games of the 2016 season. Newly signed Gregory Polanco.
Yeah, he's happy. The ball club is happy about it. You know, it's fun watching him. You get the sense that he's kind of like a colt, kind of growing into a stallion. And you see the joy on his face. He looks like he's having a ball playing. He looks young. He looks frisky. He looks happy. And we're happy that we're going to have him for a long time.
He is also looking like a guy who's quite relaxed. He was aware, of course, that he had signed the long-term deal, had come to an agreement with the Pirates before opening day. So the first 2 games of this series, he looks like a relaxed player, and why not? He joins the likes of Andrew McCutchen, Starling Marte, Josh Harrison, Jung Ho Kang. These players all signed to long-term deals. This is kind of what Neil Huntington and Bob Nutting have promised. The Pirates going to build around a core group of players, and they're doing that.
Absolutely. That's a good-looking foundation, by the way. You get the foundation, you get 4 or 5 guys like that, then you start working on pieces to complement them. So you've got that foundation in place now, and who knows what's going to come next. By the way, Neil Huntington continues to have a great track record.
That he does. Well, we'll hope Juan Nicasio has a really good track record as a member of the Pittsburgh Pirates. He'll make his Buccos debut as a starter tonight. Juan Nicasio against the St. Louis Cardinals from PNC Park, coming up next.
Pirates Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Allegheny Health Network, Health for All, and by Day Automotive. We're gonna make your day. Let's go Bucks!
Andrew McCutchen signing some autographs before the ball game, and a nice gift for the Pirates All-Star. Those flowers in there, that clubhouse. Yeah. She'll get that into the clubhouse thanks to that young lady. McCutchen fans everywhere. Pirate fans everywhere. Bucks off to a 2-0 start, and Andrew's going to get those.
Kutch telling them, I got flowers and you didn't.
That's right. I got to go put these in the water. Get a vase. Well, not as cold as it was last night. A long stretch. Breezy.
Yep, breezy.
Not sure about the forecast. Hearing that rain is possible in an hour or so. Pirates certainly want to play this ball game. Want to see what Juan Nicasio brings.
A lot of carry out to left field as Mr. Cervelli carries his starter in toward the dugout.
What a spring training he had.
Spotless. And yeah, that's the subject, because he came to spring training as a fringe pitcher, figuring he's going to have a good chance probably to work out of the bullpen where he was working last year with the Dodgers.
Rivers Casino tips to win.
Well, we heard a lot about the spring training numbers, and a lot of it got attributed to much better control. And that's always part of the foundation, one of the big factors when you start pitching better. We need to play a lot better defense. You're not going to get away with the sloppy play that the Pirates had last night. They got away with it last night. The Cardinals didn't. They were just as much of a problem for them to get the glove on the ball and kick it around a little bit. So you got to have better defense. But it'll be interesting to see. They said they also worked on tightening up his slider. So better control. And Ray Sears very happy. And he's not a guy that goes in for dramatic changes. He'll tweak something here if he sees something. But seems like Huntington gets him the people, and then Ray kind of lets them be themselves until he figures that maybe he can help in a subtle way. Not big dramatic things, but what a spring he had. And he just pushed himself into that rotation. And again, it's spring training, so you see what translates over from Bradenton, Florida to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But he was just outstanding, And keep in mind, he was a starter. He has started 86 Major League ball games, so he was a starter before working out of the bullpen last year.
We're going to start this dance here. David Freese is just getting his first look at this. We saw a lot of it last year.
Seems to be walking away.
Sean Rodriguez seated. That was it. So here come the Buccos, and number 12 Juan Nicasio, who made his Major League debut against the St. Louis Cardinals a little over 5 years ago as a member of the Colorado Rockies. And talking to Francisco Cervelli about Nicasio and why he pitched so well in spring training, Cervelli's not surprised at all. He said, you know, he's still young. He's learning how to pitch. A reliever last year. Check out the Cardinals starting lineup. Redbirds start out 0-2. The Pirates 2-0. Mike Matheny's St. Louis Cardinals. Matt Carpenter, the leadoff man, brought to you by Honda. Steven Piscotty is next, then Matt Holliday. Brandon Moss will hit cleanup. Yadier Molina hitting just over 300 in his career in this ballpark. Colton Wong back in the starting lineup at second base with Jed Jerko at short. Jeremy Hazelbaker, the rookie, had his first Major League hit last night. And Mike Leake, Pirates are very familiar. Mike Leake, will talk about him when he takes the mound. But right now, Juan Nicasio and his Hyundai numbers.
Just
spring training.
Yes, phenomenal work. Just absolutely spotless. But, again, he's been around a while. 29 years old, 6'4", 198 pounds, out of San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic. This will be as a total parts of 12 or 6 major league seasons. Excuse me, 6 major league seasons. He said he no stranger to starting 33 starts 3 years ago with the Colorado Rockies.
If you look at his major league innings, and Ray Searage knows this is still a strong, fresh arm. Not a lot of big league innings. Of course, years with the Colorado Rockies. Check out the defense. Steve talked about needing better D. Honda presents the defense. Jordy Mercer committed an error last night, but he got the game-winning hit. Double play partner Josh Harrison on the corners. David Freese and John Jaso, and that dream outfield of Marte McCutcheon and Polanco. Francisco Cervelli catches Juan Nicasio.
So now we see Nicasio in a major league setting in a major league season for the Pittsburgh Pirates. We'll hope that the transition from Florida to Pittsburgh is good.
And threw a lot of strikes. And there's one to Matt Carpenter. 63 degrees at game time. Carpenter hitless last night, 1 for 7 in the series. Ball a strike, didn't miss by a lot. Trip Gibson calls the balls and strikes tonight. Nicasio spent most of last year out of the bullpen with the Dodgers.
Just one start.
And that biting slider, Steve, that was the talk of spring training. Trip Gibson again behind the plate. Clint Fagan at first. Jerry Lane at second. He's the crew chief. Hunter Wendelstedt at third. Just gets a piece of it.
Yeah, these first two deliveries right on that outside part of the plate before coming back with a breaking ball. We get an accurate reading about the control of Nicasio when you watch Cervelli set up. Even on that fastball, it missed outside. It was to the glove, didn't miss by very much at all. He's out there again. Too far out.
96 miles per hour from Juan Nicasio. Pirates signed him to a free agent contract with the idea he could battle for a rotation spot, and at the very least a long man out of the bullpen, but so impressive in spring training. That fastball fouled away by Carpenter.
Business as usual for Matt Carpenter. Fouling off baseballs, keeping the bats alive. Nice got him upstairs last night, got him to chase after working down. Went up and got Matt Carpenter to chase and strike out.
That was first at bat of the ball game on a 3-2 pitch. Nicasio, 2-2 offering, and a full count on Matt Carpenter.
And a lot of people feel that part of the struggles of Nicasio, control, particularly against left-hand batters. So he's got a lefty up there now. And, he's going to, like any pitcher, he's got to have improved control.
His major league debut against these Cardinals, May 28, 2011, got the win. 7 innings, 1 unearned run as a member of the Rockies. So Carpenter, as is often the case, making Nicasio work. 8 pitches already.
He had that real good start, and then he got hammered around by the Cardinals too. So, yeah.
Well, then, of course, a few months later, his rookie year, August 5th, 2011, second inning, a start against the Washington Nationals. Horrific moment. And he strikes out the first batter he faces, just like John Neese in his Pirates debut.
Nicely done as Cervelli set up like over that outside part of the plate. You can see Francisco sitting there, and that's a tough location when you throw it 95 miles an hour. And Carpenter not able to get to it. You see he's kind of reaching, maybe frustrated that he swung at it, but good chance he was going to get rung up anyway.
Brings up Stephen Piscotty. And strike one. That game against the Nationals on August the 5th, 2011, second inning. Struck on the right temple, a line drive off the bat of Ian Desmond. Nicasio knocked unconscious for a moment, fell to the ground, hit the mound head first. The impact fractured his skull, broke vertebrae closest to the skull, and underwent surgery. 2 balls and a strike on Piscotty, who was 2 for 4 in last night's ball game.
And they really think highly of this young man. They think he's going to be one heck of a baseball player.
Supplemental first-round pick out of Stanford 4 years ago. 2-1, Juan Nicasio's Pirates debut.
A curveball for a strike, not exactly where he wanted to put it. Upstairs, but Scotty was not interested.
There's the scar, by the way, you can see on the back of his neck from that surgery back in 2011.
Yes, sir.
Strike 3.
Nice breaking ball on the outside part of the plate.
He wasn't just the talk of Bradenton and the Gulf Coast in Florida. He was the talk of baseball, Juan Nicasio, this spring.
That is what you call a perfect delivery. Look on the WB Mason strike zone grid. Perfect. A borderline breaking ball and then an outstanding breaking ball.
Now Matt Holliday.
Sure, Ray, why not smile? 2 men up, 2 strikeouts.
Chopper past Nicasio. Here comes Mercer. And he got him. Nicely done by Mercer. Nicely done by Nicasio in his Bucco debut. Couple of strikeouts and a bouncer to short. Pirates will come to bat against Mike Leake. Holiday. Allegheny Health Network Super Bowl. Pretty smooth there, Steve.
Yep. Nice rhythm. And the correct call.
Just in time to get Matt Holliday.
Who has lost a step in terms of speed.
John Jaso will lead off. RAV4 starting lineup for the Buccos. Andrew McCutcheon next, then David Freese. Starling Marte hits cleanup. Francisco Cervelli and Gregory Polanco follow. Josh Harrison, Jordy Mercer, Juan Nicasio against old buddy Mike Leake.
Making his 25th start against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Most of any opponent.
8-3 career-wise against the Bucks. Last year between the Giants, who he joined after leaving the Cincinnati Reds, just kind of on hold until he got a big contract, and he did, from the Cardinals. Not the biggest guy in the world, 5'10", 175 pounds.
Off the foot of the batter, John Jaso. Reaction. Classic.
doesn't feel good. By the way, Leake has won his last 7 decisions against the Bucks, going back 3 or 4 years.
ERA just over 3, 3.01 against Pittsburgh. Guy that doesn't throw all that hard, but
he's
strike
a
thrower. He's a bulldog.
Yeah,
he's a
he likes the action.
Yep.
Yep.
Great athlete. Helps himself on the mound and at the plate.
Didn't play much minor league ball, did he?
Not much at all. John Jaso lifts one to center. Hazelbaker, the rookie, makes the catch. 1 up and 1 down. Mike Leake, one of just 21 players to make his major league debut without touching the minor leagues since the draft was instituted in 1965. Andrew McCutchen with dramatic music as he steps to the plate.
An overture of some kind.
Wasn't Taylor Swift. Ball 1 on McCutchen. 3 hits last night. RBI double.
And many times you look for the curveball from Mike Leake to give you an idea how he's going to be on a given night. And he gets a good call on a high strike. When he's on, he has a very good breaking ball. Out of San Diego, California. Almost looked like a cut, kind of a cut fastball, 91 miles an hour. Some movement out of the way. Yeah, you want to get the ball up in the air to left field tonight because you'll get some help. Might be able to hear it in the microphones. Shot of the trailing wind and the flags, left center field.
Just foul in on McCutchen.
Gets the ball way in on him and trying to get the hands in so he could push the ball out into fair territory. And they will do that.
There's his admirer. She gave Kutch that bouquet.
Thanks, Kutch.
Think they've got a favorite part?
I think so. Towards center field and a base hit. It's the flowers.
Yeah, it's got to be the flowers or the cotton candy.
Hazelbaker looked like he froze a moment in that swing.
Yep.
Yes. Speaking of flowers, those tulips.
Tulips are daffodils.
Brandon Moss, one-time Pirate.
Andrew telling him I just hit it just bad enough so it wouldn't carry out to center field and be caught.
McCutchen, a one-out base runner for David Freese. Freese a couple of hits in last night's ball game, so he's 4 for 9. His first 2 with Pittsburgh. A .500 career hitter against Mike Leake, by the way. A 2-0 count on the former Cardinal, David Freese. Number 8. Single digit for a pitcher. Odd, isn't it?
Well, we got to be careful though. Our guy's wearing number 12.
Yeah.
Not much difference. Yeah, but the single digits, I don't know what that's all about.
Just the 4th Cardinal ever pitcher to wear a single digit. Our buddy Zach, the stage manager, did some research. Ernie White wore number 2 in 1940. Irv Dusac wore number 7 in 1950. Tony Jacobs wore number 1 in 1955. Michael Wacha, last night's starter. And the Cardinals all series convinced that McCutchen's going to take off. Adam Wainwright, number 50.
I think, is Wacha 52?
He is.
That's a pitcher's number. I think one of the most popular pitchers' numbers, two of them, 32 and 34, seem to be popular pitchers' numbers. Somebody will know the top 5. Watch out, watch out.
Still 2-2. Now wearing number 23, was wearing number 7 in spring training.
A lot of hits left in that number, 23. My first number.
Was it?
Yeah. Got me sent down to the minor leagues after I wore it for 1 year.
Jake Gobert, I think, wore 23 in spring training, and Gobert was taken off the roster because of the moves that were made opening day to put people like Cole Figueroa on the roster, and Gobert was claimed today, I believe, by Tampa Bay. I'm not mistaken. Still 2-2 on David Freese. I think out of maybe respect to Chuck Tanner, talking with Scott Bones, the equipment manager, David Freese figured, I'll take 23, the number that he wore in St. Louis. 3-2. Was wearing 6 as a tribute to the iconic Stan Musial when he was with the Angels the last 2 years.
One of the very best all time.
Fly ball to right field. And the catch made. And back to first goes McCutchen. Long throw from Piscotty. 2 outs.
Well hit, not quite enough.
And with that wind blowing toward left, that ball wasn't helped at all. McCutchen takes off.
Yeah, I think Andrew, right a ways into his trip, thought it was going to fall in and not be caught.
Now it's Starling Marte, hitless in his first 8 at-bats, 2 games into the season.
You're mentioning the athleticism of Mike Leake. Pretty quick throw to first base. He does many things well, as you said.
Drew a walk last night, but hitless. He's hit into a couple double plays and only a 194 career batting average versus Mike Leake,
who has shown exceptionally good control throughout his career, even coming up without playing minor league ball. Basically, career-wise, 3-to-1 strikeouts to walks. Very, very good.
One and one on Marte. Last year, 81 runs batted in for Starling Marte. 287 average, 19 homers. And there's the hit. Got the high stockings going. Tonight, Starling Marte. It's his first hit of the young season, so it's first and second for Francisco Cervelli.
Nicely done. That ball in on him a little bit. Was able to get the hands out in front, get the bat out in front, leave the hands back.
Cervelli 2 for 8 in the series. Pirates went 17-7-2 in series played at PNC Park last year. 14 series sweeps last season. Only the Mets with 15 had more sweeps than the Bucks in all of baseball.
And the Pirates making Mike Leake work here in the first inning. 25 pitches delivered. Many times you like to say, let's get that starter out and get into the bullpen. But I don't know. This Cardinal bullpen, they were outstanding. They just weren't quite as good as the Pirates bullpen last night. It kind of reminded me of the 1960 World Series. The Yankees scored all the runs. The Pirates won the games. The Cardinal relievers struck everybody out. But the Pirate relievers got the job done.
Kyle Lobstein got the win.
Not his first major league win. Major league win number 5.
One and 2 on Cervelli. John Neese pitched better than that line showed. Steve talked about the defense. He didn't have the best D behind him. Struck out 7.
Including going upstairs several times, which is usually not his strength. Saw some good curveballs.
Two and 2 as now Cervelli battles.
Yeah. Nudging that 30 pitch total here in the first inning.
Still 2 and 2. Leake will have to throw another pitch.
Everybody can get along together. Cardinal fans, Pirate fans, fans that wear their hat backwards, fans that wear their hat forward, fans, baseball fans.
Two and 2. And it's a full count and good speed on the bases. They'll have the benefit of taking off on this pitch.
Yeah, you don't even see Moss in the picture, so Starling can buy a lot of ground.
Three and 2. Do it again. This will be the 9th pitch of this at bat coming up to Francisco Cervelli. Drove in 43 runs last year. Leake averaged 92 pitches per start last season with the Reds and Giants. Man, what a great job by Cervelli to work the walk.
We hope they can cash in this opportunity, but even if they don't, they have given Leake a test here in the first inning.
And Gregory Polanco, just 2 out of 16 in previous matchups against Mike Leake. He'll come to the plate, but Polanco, first 2 games of the season, 4 for 6, 4 runs scored. Barrel Automotive stat. Gregory Polanco last season against the Cardinals, 28 hits, the most of any player in the league against the Redbirds.
Leake last year in 30 starts gave up 22 home runs, so he is vulnerable in that category. We saw with that ball that Freese hit that you're going to have to earn it to right field with that wind. But, nice to think about.
Polanco kind of shaking his head. No, he didn't think that was a strike. Polanco has reached base in 5 of his 8 plate appearances so far in this series. Ball a strike. We talked to Polanco yesterday at length about the new contract and what it means, how happy he is to know that he's going to be here for a long time. Loves the city, the fans, his manager. Very special relationship with Clint Hurdle. We asked him if this big contract is going to change him as a person and or a player, and he said no, no, no. That's the first thing his mom said. He called his mom as soon as they had reached the agreement before opening day, and it's the first thing she said to him. Congratulations, but don't ever change. 2-1 on Gregory Polanco. And 2-2.
Boy, are they working Mike Leake, but Mike Leake has not given up a run. We told you that kind of mental approach he has. He is a grinder. He's proven that in his time in the big leagues. He doesn't give in, and he hasn't been scored upon yet, and he is really, really struggling to get through this first inning. So he still has a chance to make it happen.
Oh man!
Wow!
3-2.
How can you take that pitch?
Oh boy, that's what Leake is wondering.
Yeah.
How about this merry-go-round? First inning, 2 outs, 3-2 count. Fans revving it up, and it was outside.
Yep. And
again, everybody will take off on this payoff pitch, a big one early on. Just the first inning. 3-2. Walked him. 1-0 Pirates.
That's got to get a trip from Derek Lilliquist.
How about these Bucko at bats here? In the first inning against Mike Leake in his first start. Remember, he signed a 5-year, $80 million guaranteed contract. Pitch by pitch at bat here to Gregory Polanco.
And that was a funny kind of a reaction by Polanco. Then it evens the count. He gets ahead in the count. Foul ball. Misses outside. And then misses outside again. It seems like an hour since Andrew McCutchen reached first base, and now he's back in the dugout. So the Pirates have found a way to grind out a run. It could be more, and there's early activity.
About that, Matt Bowman. And ball 1 on Josh Harrison. And again, this is Mike Leake, who in 25 career starts against the Pirates, 8-3, a 3.01 ERA. "17 balls thrown, 22 strikes, and another ball. Only 2 first pitch strikes to the first 7 batters. And Jay in the driver's seat.
Boy, is this a nice place to be, because Leake knows he has to throw a strike now. He can't be really overly concerned about throwing a quality strike. He's just thinking a strike.
Two and 1 on Josh Harrison. A couple of hits last night for Jay Hay. Andrew McCutchen, the base hit with 1 out. And line back to Leake.
Wow. Reaction play, and the Pirates get 1, but boy, did they work it.
began, you saw one of the cooler moments, Andrew McCutchen receiving flowers from one of his youngest fans. And of course, Kutch was proud to show him off to all his new teammates. And I was lucky enough here to track down the young lady who gave him the flowers. This is Elizabeth Leeser. She's from Monongahela, Pennsylvania, 7.5 years of age. Elizabeth, what was that moment like giving your favorite player, Andrew McCutchen, flowers?
It felt so good. I felt like I wanted to, like, scream.
Wanted to scream. Now, why did you bring flowers for Andrew?
So, it could give him good luck tonight to win the game.
Now, what was your interaction like with Andrew? What did you say to him, and what did he say to you?
I said, these flowers are for you. Good luck tonight. And I hope you win the game.
And now Andrew not only got the first hit, but he scored the lone Pirates run so far tonight. So how much do you think that has to do with the flowers that you gave him? Do you think they were good luck?
Yes.
Greg and Steve, what do you think? I agree. I agree with Elizabeth.
No,
I think
no question.
these were the good luck charms right here.
Was Kutch happy with the flowers?
What was his reaction when you handed them to him?
What did he say?
He's like, okay, thank you. Thank you for the flowers. Thank you for saying good luck.
There you go.
Oh, that's great.
Think she'll remember this night for a long time?
I think they both will.
Yep.
And we will. Robbie, thanks. Great job, Robbie, to track down Elizabeth, 7.5 years old.
I think maybe Robbie can bring us some flowers sometime.
Yeah, Robbie, hey. Three and two on Brandon Moss.
You think the Pirates will ever work harder to get one run?
No.
That was tough business.
Man, how about that? Coming back down on the count, strikes out Moss. He's punched out 3 of the first 4 batters.
So far, he's answered the question about transition from spring training to regular season. 97 with some finish to it, as they say.
Again, no runs in Grapefruit League play. Struck out 24 batters in 15 innings.
And just walked 5, too. So control, a little bit issue in the past, but he tidied that up and had a great spring.
Falls behind Molina, 2-0.
You certainly know that the stuff is there. So if he throws it over the plate, not only over the plate, but where he wants to throw it in the strike zone, that stuff is going to carry him a long way.
Well, there's a man there. Hard hit, but at Josh Harrison. 2 up and 2 down. It'll bring up Colton Wong. We'll get to some Point Park University tweets. Pirate fans excited about watching the new Bucco right-hander. Nicasio excited to see this guy take the hill tonight. Dalton Hinton. Let's go Bucks. Excited for the Pirates debut of Wanda Nicasio tonight. Who else woke up this morning and thought, I am fired up for Juan Nicasio's big start tonight. Colton Wong did not start last night against the lefty Nice, but did have 3 at-bats. That's in on his hands. And going to fight it off and get it into center field for the first hit. 2 down in the second. He's got a ticket to this ball game.
And a good-looking outfit, too.
And he is studying that ticket. Here's Jed Jerko, homered off of Nice last night.
Spent a good bit of time before the ball game saying hello to family and friends down the right field line. A lot of photographs taken, a lot of hugs.
One ball, no strikes. The count on Jed Jerko. Hit 16 home runs last year 27-year-old traded for John Jay over the winter from San Diego.
Tight slider down and away. Good location.
Bill Miller coaching first base.
Got the ever-ready stopwatch. That's an interesting look there, because that looks like a massive lead to me. And then it's really not, but the perception from this angle is interesting. I keep wanting Nicasio to throw over to first base when I see that. I said, keep an eye on him, keep an eye on him. That's a good look.
There's the look.
Oh yeah, now see, there's the lead. It's modest.
Long looks like he wants to run, doesn't he?
Yeah, we got looks all over the place.
Yeah, I think he wanted to go. 97 and a strike, 1-2. Wong thought he was going to go there, but nope.
Yeah, well,
Nicasio held it for an extra second.
And that's all he had to do, and that shut it down. That's great.
Vary your looks.
Yep. He gets it from everywhere in the ballpark. It's great.
Strike three. Well, it's early into his Pirates career, but it does look as though Juan Nicasio has picked up where he left off in Bradenton. UPMC scoreboard, 1-0 Pirates going to the second here at PNC Park. Jordy Mercer, Juan Nicasio on deck, and then it will be John Jaso. What a job by Juan Nicasio so far.
Welcome to Pittsburgh.
How about this stat from our Jason Steele in the truck? Mike Leake in his career, in terms of pitches thrown in an inning, is a line drive to center, and it carries out to Hazelbaker. A line drive to center field. Before tonight, most pitches Mike Leake had thrown in any one inning in his career was 39 in September of 2011. Tonight he threw 42 pitches in the first inning, most ever in his career. Juan Nicasio hit 119 last year. Or for his career, he's hit 119. He only had one at bat last year, so 119 career average.
Tuna wagon.
Starting out to be a much easier inning for Leake. Quickly 2 outs, but we are going to watch John Jaso work as a leadoff hitter. First of all, he's going to take his sweet old time to get to the plate, allow Nicasio to get back into the dugout. We'd like to welcome Service Electric Cablevision viewers in the Sunbury area. Thanks for watching and rooting on your Pittsburgh Pirates. All of us at Root Sports and the Pirates appreciate your support. Sunbury, PA. Here on Root Sports. The band is back together, Steve. All the gypsies.
Mm-hmm. And they're on their game.
Yeah,
early.
Men and women who helped put this production on and bounce to the right side. So it is a much easier 6-pitch second inning for Mike Leake. 1-0 Pirates. And Rob, everybody's talking about that story. The rookie. Pretty amazing. And he has helped the Rockies win 2 of their first 3 games against Arizona.
You can never predict the stories that are going to emerge, jump out of any part of the season, coming out of the gate. What a great start.
Yeah.
I mean, dreams of that sort of thing.
Jeremy Hazelbaker was also a guy who for many years dreamed of making it to the big leagues. Toiled in the minors for a while, but realized his dream of making it to the majors on the opening day roster, and last night picked up his first big league hit off of Mark Melancon. Jeremy Hazelbaker, 28-year-old native of Muncie, Indiana. One-time 4th-round pick of the Red Sox back in 2009 out of Ball State.
That's what you tell every youngster. Chase your dreams. They can be caught.
1-2 the count.
Do it again, Juan. Nothing wrong with that fastball at 97 miles an hour.
Another 1-2 pitch.
Good job of staying alive against some good stuff, Hazelbaker. He's seen some good stuff from Nicasio. Everybody is. 22 major league wins, 25 losses career-wise for Juan.
And pitched in a tough environment, of course, for the Colorado Rockies. It's a tough yard in which to pitch. Made his debut, we talked about that, 2011 against these Cardinals. 15 starts. Got hurt in August. That line drive back to the box. And just got a piece of it.
Is that a stylish glove or what?
Is he ready?
Mm-hmm.
Nicasio came back from that injury to start 11 games for the Rockies the following year, 2012. Another foul.
How can that not affect you? People, pitchers getting seriously hurt, seriously hit, just psychologically. It's amazing that they go back out there. It really is. It's scary.
And they must flinch every time
the
ball's hit anywhere near the middle of the field. Popped up.
Took a little something off the speed.
One out. It'll bring up Mike Leake, this year's Pittsburgh Pirates home run 5K, 10K, presented by Allegheny Health Network and Highmark, set for Saturday, April 16th. Participants get a Tech t-shirt and ticket voucher good for a Buccos game. Families can join in the Chick-fil-A 1 Mile Family Fun Run. Register today at pirates.com/home run.
Got the brooms. You know, you talk about balls being had back at the pitcher. What about that line drive right at Mike Leake? That was a rocket by Harrison. I mean, if you don't catch it, I mean, you can get seriously hurt on that play. And he reacted, flinched, threw the glove up and got the ball. I mean, that was a bullet.
Off the bat of Josh Harrison. 0-2 on Leake. Good hitting pitcher. But against Juan Nicasio, it's no contest. That's 5 strikeouts.
Yeah, that's tough on anybody, especially a pitcher. You see all that heat, and then he throws you the perfect cutter, slider, slider. 44 pitches for Nicasio. Is that what? Well, Leake had 42 in the first inning. He got Carpenter to start off the ball game.
And we'll see the second time around and how it goes with Nicasio, who, again, all but one appearance last year was as a reliever. And his career numbers better as a reliever. A lot of that has to do again with the inflated numbers at Coors Field. A 3.74 ERA in 71 big league relief outings, 5.12 in 70 big league starts.
You know, it was interesting too, Greg. His strikeout to inning walk was much better last year out of the bullpen. Now, whether just so strong because he's not throwing nearly as much.
Talking to Clint Hurdle about Nicasio and the difference from what he had seen when Nicasio was in Colorado or even Los Angeles. Well, improved command, as you talked about, Steve. Good downhill angle and the better spin on that slider.
I would rank them in that order. Better control, because the stuff, if he throws the ball where he wants to, he's going to win. The stuff is that good.
Hit well to center. McCutchen going back. And there. 1-2-3 for Juan Nicasio. The Bucks lead 1-0. Stay tuned after the game. Get a look at the Buccos' new additions, potential breakout players, and much more. Breaking down this year's looming questions, previewing the Pirates' 2016 season on Inside Pirates Baseball. 6 questions tonight after postgame on Root Sports. No question that Andrew McCutchen is healthier at the start of this season. Remember last year how he kind of nursed his way through spring training, a tender knee. You can just tell that he was feeling a whole lot better down in Florida. A man on a mission again this year, maybe to get back that MVP that he won in 2013 and a Gold Glove. Saw him make the catch. He's playing more shallow this season in center. 3-1 on Andrew McCutchen, who singled and scored in the first.
Working against Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
42 pitch first inning, just 6 pitches last inning.
Got to figure he's going to be somewhere in between those two numbers here in the third. Stay alive, kind of a swing. Doing something there. I hope he didn't put the jinx on it, Greg. I hope that he's all right.
And in center, a catch made by Hazelbaker. 1 down.
Third baseman, David Freese.
It'll bring up David Freese at the ball to the warning track in right field in the first. Mike leaked that 5-year deal, $80 million guaranteed with a mutual club option. Can escalate the deal to some $93 million. He makes $12 million this year.
Probably going to be okay even if they don't kick in that last year.
League's career high wins total was 14 3 years ago with the Reds.
You know, you look at David Freese, and you know, we saw him as an opponent for a lot of years, but he's got that look of a professional about him that doesn't look like he gets too excited, not too high, not too low. He
looks like a pro.
Yeah, he looks like he's ready to perform.
Eighth season. He was drafted by the Padres in the 9th round, 2006. Dealt to the Cardinals for Jim Edmonds. Shortstop Jerko, the former Padre, throws out David Freese. Every Friday is a free shirt Friday. Bucks are in town. Be one of the first 20,000 fans. Get a free Pirates t-shirt. Check out this year's t-shirt designs and cast your vote for the 1971 inspired September 2nd design at pirates.com/free-shirt-Friday. Pirates will hit the road, fly out to Cincy tomorrow, and back home 1 week from tonight against the Tigers. Home and home interleague series. 2 in Detroit starting Monday, then 2 here starting Wednesday night. A week from tomorrow, first matinee weekday game, 12:35, and then the Brewers are in town for 3. And the next and first free shirt Friday will be 1 week from this Friday when the Pirates host the Brewers. Garrett Cole will pitch on Saturday, game 2 of that series. He'll make his 2016 debut. Jeff Locke will pitch Sunday.
Saturday afternoon game?
Saturday afternoon.
Yep.
Pirates locked up Starling Marte in March 2 years ago, 2014. keeping him around through at least the 2021 season. Gregory Polanco locked up officially yesterday. Andrew McCutchen, his long-term contract announced in March of 2012. Jay Hay, remember opening day last year in Cincinnati? And Marte hit by a pitch. He gets hit a lot. Todd Tomczyk is out checking on Starling Marte. Hit 19 times last year.
Right in the ribs. It'll hurt the ribs, maybe take your breath away. Right under the arm, right under the number 6. So. On his feet. Collecting his helmet. He's going to hit the first base.
Behind Anthony Rizzo, plunked 30 times. He is aboard, but still rubbing that area. Francisco Cervelli will come to the plate with Marte aboard and 2 outs. What a job Matt Zidek and the scoreboard people do here at PNC Park. And I think Steve and I agreed that it is maybe the best feature we've ever seen here at PNC Park. We've got Cervelli dressed up in like a black velvet robe and
smoker's jacket.
Yeah, smoker's jacket.
Velvet, velvet.
And on the scoreboard between innings, asking him to answer emails, essentially love letters. There's a line drive to left and a carry out to Holiday.
Advice to the lovelorn.
Cervelli lines out to left.
It's hilarious.
Marte takes his normal position in left field after being hit by the pitch last half. Well, Pirates third baseman David Freese right now is standing just a few feet away from one of the biggest influences in his baseball career. And as Greg mentioned last half inning, he was traded for Jim Edmonds into the Cardinals system. Now the third base coach, that man right there, is Chris Maloney. He managed David Freese in his first 2 seasons in the Cardinals system before he made his big league debut in 2009. Now the two talked on the phone a few weeks ago for the first time in a long time, and when they saw each other on opening day, they gave each other a big hug when Freese took the field. Now Freese said he kind of disappeared for a bit after his trade to Anaheim from St. Louis in 2013, and Greg and Steve, Now that the Cardinals and Pirates playing each other 18 times a year, they'll have plenty of time to catch up with each other and make up for that lost time. So interesting stuff. You mentioned him in the Jim Evans trade. The first man to take control of him before he made his big league debut, Chris Malone.
Great relationship there.
Great that he's
Free's
third
still
baseman.
still very close to some of these players, including Matt Holliday, who took Freese under his wing a few years ago. Freese was a young player in the Cardinals system. Jose Oquendo, of course, normally coaches third for these St. Louis Cardinals, but he has a knee issue that is going to keep him out for perhaps the entire season. So Maloney moves from the first base coaching box to the third base coaching box. Jose Oquendo, 16 years as the coach over there, the longest tenured coach in the major leagues. Piscotty with a fly ball to left center field. Marte.
You see the carry in that wind. The ball pretty well hit, but it wound up getting to the warning track. Just got it in just far enough in on the hands. Hit it decent, but not quite good enough.
Juan Nicasio gave up 2-out single to Colton Wong. He struck out 5. Not going to jump to conclusions. Going to just watch how this plays out for Nicasio. So far, so good. And this is not just a spot start. Talking to Clint Hurdle. No, he's in the rotation. Also asked the Pirate skipper about any innings concern for Nicasio, whose career high in the big leagues coming into this year was 158 with Colorado 3 years ago. And again, Clint said, we'll cross that bridge if we ever have to worry about it down the road.
Well, so far, early impressions, really good fastball, really good slider. You don't see a lot of straight change stuff, change ups. If you've got those kind of quality pitches, you don't need all that much. Kind of window dressing.
So you can get away with fastball, slider?
If they're good enough. Yeah, and his fastball, 96, 97. That's plenty good. And the slider is the key. Throwing strikes with the slider, because if you don't do that, then you're down to a one-pitch pitcher. And you're naked with that. I don't care what kind of speed you have. If they're looking for the fastball, they can catch up with it. The key, control of the slider.
Dribbler. Nicasio.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Because he didn't rush it through. He gave that nice touch throw, like a quarterback throwing right over the top of the line.
No panic.
Yep. I was thinking you ought to leave it alone for the catcher, but he wasn't going to get to it. And Nicasio did a good job. Nice little soft, good touch on that throw. So far, one Cardinal base runner. A+ to this point, maybe A++ to this point. That might have been something that you try to take a little off the fastball. Me down from 97 to 86, certainly not a breaking ball. So there you got a look at something else. When you have that kind of speed, you don't have to be particularly tricky. You just need to have something to complement it. And he has shown at times something better than average with the slider.
Here's the professor, Ray Searage.
Again, something off the fastball.
What is this, Steve, this pitch? 90 miles an hour.
Well, that's his version of an off-speed pitch, just taking something off the fastball. And again, 92 all of a sudden. So yeah, we're talking about a two-pitch pitcher. We're seeing a little departure from that. Not a bad idea trying to show them a third pitch. I mean, if you got something as a number 3 pitch and you can do something with it, well, it just adds to your package of tools.
Fly ball to right.
There's the slider. And this great stuff.
Impressive.
It's time for the Toyota RAV 4th inning. The all-wheel drive RAV Hybrid has performance that will make you rethink hybrid. Let's go Bucks!
Coming your way from PNC Park, Pirates score in the first inning against Mike Leake on a bases-loaded walk to this man, Gregory Polanco. Leake threw 42 pitches in that first frame.
But did not cave in. Gave up one.
And that line drive by Josh Harrison back to Leake. One of the harder hit balls of that inning. Left the bases loaded. Polanco with that free pass has now reached base 6 of his first 9 plate appearances of the young season and has scored 4 runs.
And when Josh comes up, we're going to show you that line drive because it was the last out of the inning. We had to go to break, but I'll tell you that it was dramatic. It was crucial to what was going to happen.
We do got to pay the bills. There's ball 4, and because we did have to go to break. Let's watch what you're talking about here, Steve.
Right, it's a great reaction.
I want to talk about what a great athlete he is and how he does help himself. I mean, that wasn't just luck, right?
No, I mean, he looked like he had it measured. And that's crazy to say that.
See if Polanco wants to run. He takes off. And he's out. Yadier Molina gets him.
That's one thing, and we talked about this last night when Polanco has great speed, but he's got those long strides, so the quickness maybe is not as much as when he gets underway. And then that's a big body to get in motion. We want to take a look at this. I guess we do. Go get yourself a sandwich. This will take a while.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Pirates are challenging the outcall at second base.
For now, Polanco caught stealing.
Now he's saying
he got
tag him
tagged
high.
up there, huh?
Yep. Watch the foot underneath. And then, see, you got the glove in back of the leg, so.
Oh, he missed him there. What do you think, Steve?
Well,
that angle.
He did tag him high. Look up on the knee, coming by. And again, is it enough to turn it? One of the factors, and nobody talks, it looked like a clean play defensively. Sometimes that'll help you get the call. But, see again. See the body's hiding on that one.
All kinds of angles here, right?
We got looks for you.
Look at this. Zoom in, and
yeah, the Pirates have a beef. I think they've got a 60% chance to get the safe call. We told you we got the looks for you, and we got the best guys to give you those looks.
Oh, yeah, there's no place better in baseball than PNC Park.
Nope.
And he is still out.
Didn't present enough evidence, apparently.
Two-4. Confirmed. Polanco caught stealing. And Yadier Molina, he's such a weapon. Won his 8th straight Gold Glove last year, and tonight we understand he is starting his 1,381st game, which surpasses
Ted Simmons.
Yeah.
Simba, nickname for Teddy.
All-time leader before tonight, behind the dish in Cardinals history. There's a base hit. Couple line drives for Harrison. The first was lined back to Leake. This one into right field.
You see Molina moving outside, and Josh Harrison doing what you need to do with that kind of pitch in that kind of location. Hit it the opposite field. The catcher wanted it outside. Got it outside. Josh had a good at bat.
Jordy Mercer lined out to center field in the second. Hitting over 350 in his career against Mike Leake. Jordy Mercer, one of the heroes last night. That ground single inside the first base bag in the bottom of the 11th brought home Gregory Polanco with the game-winning run. Leake, a first-round pick, 8th overall in 2009 out of Arizona State. Traded to the Giants for Adam Duvall July last year. And gets away. And there goes J-Head.
Somebody.
Moss or Leake?
Moss.
Just clanked off his glove. Harrison in scoring position.
Error pitcher? Did I hear error pitcher?
Don't know why if we did. Said error pitcher? I don't know what Leake is supposed to do there. 2-1 the count on Mercer.
He wants a review on that.
Two and two.
Now, when you have this kind of situation, you might think, well, it changes the approach by the pitcher with the batter. The pitcher, his opposing pitcher on deck. but it doesn't, because he wants to get Mercer and have the third out represented by Nicasio. In other words, he doesn't want to be so careful he walks Mercer just because the pitcher's coming up. Get Mercer and then get your opposing pitcher. That's the way you approach this situation.
3-2 now on Mercer.
Now, Leake might not feel that way, but a lot of pitchers over the years have. Let that pitcher represent the third out instead of the second. Oh, he chased ball 4.
First strikeout for Mike Leake.
Breaking ball way down the way. Leake with a frustrated walk back to the dugout. Now Leake is where he wants to be.
See, Nicasio can help himself at the plate. He's done a great job so far on the mound in his Pirates debut.
And Mike Leake is doing everything he can to keep this start together.
And there's Leake again.
Go, Mikey!
1-3 on that put out. A walk and a base hit, a man left. Pirates up 1-0. Great shots from the Allegheny Health Network Super Mode of the sounds of Crash City coming to Stage AE April 29th. And there is always a great look. City skyline. And here at PNC Park, the Pirates leading 1-0. Roberto Clemente fan. You always see those Clemente jerseys, T-shirts. And Steve received something today that is quite special. Steve, tell us about.
Yeah, this is a portrait done by Michael Labate. Nice note from their family, and very nice, very, very happy, appreciative of that. Stan Savern helped me get that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, wonderful, and thanks for the wonderful note. Great Pirate fans. Frank, Tina, Gina, Frankie, and Michael, the artist, Labates. Thank you so much.
Really well done. And a man at the plate hails from Puerto Rico, Yadier Molina. And the man patrolling right field these days, we talked to him yesterday about that legacy and how important that is to him. Very well aware. And we were talking, Steve, about the fact that really, Clemente was there for so many years in right field, and after Clemente, it was Parker essentially handed the baton, Dave Parker, the All-Star Gold Glover. But after Parker, no one really established any kind of a foothold out in right field for the Pirates. There's a liner caught. And so Polanco with that big contract, and if he goes along the path that the Pirates are hoping, he's going to be up there, maybe with Clemente and Parker. I mean, think about that.
He's got that chance. He's got that chance. Was it last year opening day that they had the 21 out there? There was one occasion where Polanco stood right on it and really paid it great respect. You know, a lot of people don't realize how big he's 6'5", 230. Polanco is a big, big man. And that might be part of the reason it's tougher for him to get that big body in motion as quickly as he needs to be a base stealer. But he did steal a lot of bases last year. So
he's gotten bigger over the offseason. You see his added muscle, the thicker legs.
But he's a horse.
He is. We have talked about that. When he gets going between first and third, he looks like a thoroughbred. And you talked about the differences in terms of running styles between him and Clemente. There's a bouncer to second. Nice play by Harrison. That had all kinds of trouble written on it as it approached the lip of the grass.
Yep, there were things going on with that. The ball came up on him at the end. He went over. He stayed with it. Nice plays. He's got it. He's got it lined up. Yeah, it was awkward at the end, but he stayed with it.
Well done.
Yeah, Polanco has that wonderful long Joe DiMaggio kind of stride. Clemente galloped around the bases, but still got there quickly. And then McCutchen kind of in the middle. It's a working. Chop up the distance. The quickness that Andrew has. The running styles of really good Pirate players.
And two of them right there, and the shorter statured Harrison.
Yep.
Excellent speed, and now 0-2 on Jed Jerko.
Nice breaking ball. Down far enough. You want that breaking ball to be a teaser. Start it right kind of in the middle of the strike zone. And if you miss away, you don't get hurt with it. But you don't want to start it in any closer, because you can hang it in there. You miss with the slider, miss away. You think it's going to have that fastball feel to it. Doesn't show you much with the spin, and then all of a sudden it's gone out to the outside corner. You know, I watch David Freese at third base, and I can't help but think of Gene Freese, who played infield for the Pirates a lot of years ago. Augie was his nickname.
And his brother Bud Freese also played for the Pirates in the mid-50s. George Freese, nicknamed Bud.
Yep.
And David Freese has said that when he was with the Cardinals, he's asked that every time. Are you related to the Freese brothers? Nope, no relation to his knowledge, but very well aware of the history over there at third base with the late Gene Freese from Wheeling, West Virginia. And here's a man from Morgantown, West Virginia at the plate in Jed Jerko. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
In front of a lot of friends and family tonight. There's that breaking ball that's out away, so you didn't get the good part of the bat on it. And keep it going, Juan. You're doing a wonderful job.
Mr. Wonderful, Juan Nicasio. 5 innings, 1 hit, and a 1-0 lead for the Bucks. 1-0 Pirates. John Jaso in the bottom of the 5th against Mike Leake. Takes ball 1. Jaso has flied to center and bounced to second. There is Juan Nicasio, who has been brilliant, has retired 10 straight and 15 out of 16 batters in his Pirates debut. See if the Pirates could get him a run or two here in the 5th.
He has been so dominant, you have a tendency to figure out or forget about Mike Leake being quite good getting out of that mess in the 1st.
Jaso hits one deep to right field, to the wall, off the very top of the Clemente wall. John Jaso wants 3. Here's the throw. It's a triple, and a run is going to score. The Pirates lead 2-0. John Jaso. Boy, it's been Trip City in Pittsburgh the first 3 games.
Just barely missed a home run, and then they threw the ball into the stands, and he gets another 90 feet. So that's the add-on, instant add-on that you were looking for. Look at that back foot. He goes down. Oh, those lefties love that uppercut swing, and there goes Piscotty. Ball even out of your frame there, that high up on the wall, and then the relay over the head and into the stands.
Carpenter didn't do Wong or the Cardinals any favors there. Looks like he tried to get the ball and put a tag on. No chance, as you see Jaso with the triple. And there's a fly ball the other way and out of play. The triple for John Jaso.
He's looking. He thinks he might have got enough. Still another last look and on into 3rd.
He collects his first triple in almost 2 years for the Pirates. They've tripled in each of the first 3 games of this series. Last year, Pirates went 21 games to start the year without a 3-base hit. A triple in each of the first 3 games here, and this one leads to a run. Cutchin over to Carpenter.
Take a look at that back foot right there. Freeze. It's kind of open, but it's just almost in back of himself.
Yeah, that front foot back toward the line. Very unusual stance.
Yeah.
John Jaso.
Almost got home run number 1.
Jaso now with 3 hits. His first 3 games. David Freese at the plate. Jaso, the big smile, the dreads. Could be quite a pickup.
And the big smile.
To say nothing of the job he's quietly been doing since about the middle of spring training defensively at first base.
See how close this was to a home run.
And David Freese collects the base hit. That's how close it was, Steve, to getting out.
Yeah, just
maybe
there's
a couple
that big
feet.
yellow streak, but then the railing that's yellow. It was very close to getting over that. Almost a divine flight.
John Jaso with his 10th career big league triple. His first since 2014 when he was with Oakland.
Who did they charge that hitter on, Greg?
Wong. Okay. They've given errors to Leake, the pitcher, and Wong so far tonight as Marte fouls it out of play.
Both of them might like to have a conversation about who got charged.
Yeah. In Leake's case, he threw it right to Brandon Moss. Moss dropped it on the pickoff last inning, and Wong's case, wasn't the greatest throw in the world, but Carpenter will tell him, that's my bad.
Yep. A little bit of breathing room for Nicasio.
1 out.
And as Mike Leake continues to throw pitch after pitch and lots of pitches, they'll have activity going out of the Cardinal bullpen.
Tyler Lyons. Marte lines it into center field.
They could hear the crack of the bat there. Solid
Well, three hard hit balls here against Leake to start this bottom of the 5th inning.
Way to get back to the pitcher after he hits you in the ribs.
Yeah.
Walk-up song for the Latino lover consultant. Casanova sitting there in the smoking robe.
You really have to see that feature.
It is great.
It is fantastic.
It's better than the most interesting man in the world. A little bit of a similar concept.
John Jaso. Is there more exciting play in baseball than the triple?
No. The only way you can enhance it is if it's hit with the bases loaded.
Yeah.
But it is. There's so much time for you to watch it unfold with the defensive guys and the man rounding second.
Well, Cervelli tripled opening day on Sunday when he hit a ball that hit off of the fence by the bullpen, the fence that juts out toward the notch, and deflected away from Matt Holliday back toward left field. That Cervelli triple occurred leading off the 6th inning. Gregory Polanco tripled off the Clemente wall last night. That led to a run. And now a chance to give the Pirates a 3-0 lead with a base hit.
So many different surfaces here. We got 3 good bounces on those triples. Just
Cervelli, you can see, has reason to be happy with that call. Looks like he's saying something, and maybe Tripp Gibson is saying get in the box. 1-2 the count. Freese and Marte the runners. Line toward the line in left field. That gets down. This will score 1. Marte is racing around. He will score. And Vita Bella, Francisco Cervelli's 2-run double gives the Bucks a 4-0 lead.
And was there any doubt that Marte was just going to fly around from first base and score comfortably? That was perfectly located down into the left field corner. And that's the breakthrough, and that's the end of the evening for Mike Leake.
How about Cervelli? Line double down the line and left. And Marte, this is always exciting to watch. Great speed of Starling Marte. Able to score easily.
Gets that third base on the angle, and it's just done deal.
Yes, sir. Thumbs up. 4-0 Bucks. We'll be back. New pitcher coming on for the Cardinals. Presents Bringing the Lumber. We're just talking about the 3 triples so far in this series. Opening day, Francisco Cervelli tripled. Last night, Gregory Polanco off the Clemente wall tripled. And moments ago, John Jaso, a couple of feet away from his first Pirate homer. Instead, his first Pirate triple. Ball gets away on the air, and Jaso gets home. And Cervelli doubled home 2 more in this inning.
You want a little support for Nicasio, you got it.
Greg Garcia takes over at short in this double switch. He'll bat on the 9th spot of the order. Tyler Lyons bats in Jed Jerko's spot. And here is Polanco against the lefty. Gregory Polanco faced Tyler Lyons last night and did a nice job driving in David Freese from third base with a sacrifice fly to deep left center field.
Opportunity to add on once again.
1 ball and 1 strike. Polanco may end up striking out, popping up. Who knows here in this at bat, but there is no question. Through less than 3 games, you are seeing a very relaxed, confident ball player here in Gregory Polanco. The age of 24. Seeing the ball well, not jumping at pitches. He's walked twice in this game. Brought home a run in the first inning with a bases loaded free pass against Lee.
Neil Huntington used the word ceiling, high ceiling, meaning great potential.
Jeff Branson, his hitting coach, in the dugout. Off-speed pitch, 3-1 on Pirates right fielder from Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic.
There will be a few growing pains still, but they are going to be far overshadowed by the talent that this young man has.
Beginning just his 2nd full year in the major leagues, and I'm sure Rene Gallo is somewhere watching his prize pick from the Dominican, the man who signed him. And there again,
3 walks. And so you look at the maturity too and pitch selection, and knowing what to chase, what not to chase. And it's all part of the education.
In terms of the contract signed through 2021 with options that could keep him here through 2023. Just 244 big league games. Gregory Polanco joined the Pirates in 2014. Played in 89 games, and then last year a full season. There are some young buccos.
Captain Hook.
Josh Harrison against Tyler Lyons. Toward third. 1 and 2. Well done by the Cardinal infield. Well done by Francisco Cervelli. Pirates now lead 4-0.
0-0 Buccos. We hit inning number 6. I'm Robbie. It's Mikowski. As we mentioned last half inning, Gregory Polanco signs a long-term extension to remain with the Pirates. And you know his relationship with his mother is a very close one. Earlier, he discussed what their phone conversation was like after he signed the deal.
Like my mom said, you know, son, just go play baseball and, you know, have fun like you always have, and you know, don't worry about anything. And you know, like now I know I got my family there, and I got my future.
You know, Greg and Steve, I'm sure you guys could speak to this certainly more than I could. You wonder how much that plays into a guy's mindset when he's working to get that big deal. He hasn't yet struck it rich. Polanco did not get the big signing bonus coming out of the Dominican Republic as a teenager, and here he is now. Can focus strictly and purely on baseball as opposed to hitting well so he can earn that next contract.
Well, again, he certainly seems to be more relaxed, whether that's just because he's maturing, had that first full year last year, whether it's because of the contract or the conversation he had last year with Clint Hurdle. Hurdle settled him down, said, you're not going anywhere. We're not sending you back to the minor leagues. So just go out and play ball.
Well, the psychological implications of a massive, can you imagine what that kind of money means to somebody in the Dominican Republic? Right. This guy didn't grow up with a silver spoon. That money is massive. and you wonder, okay, can you relax to the point, okay, I'm fine and I don't really have to bust it anymore? Or do you put pressure on yourself? And so there's a lot of things there's a lot of factors involved. So you hope that it lets him makes him relax, like you say, and just let him just blossom. But you hope that it doesn't put a great deal of pressure on him. Although, let's be honest, it does to a degree.
Starling Marte, saw a shot there of Marte, who gave some advice to Polanco about go ahead, sign it. 2-2 on Hazelbaker, and this ball driven to right center field, and Jeremy Hazelbaker collects his first big league home run. Just the second hit off Juan Nicasio. It's 4-1.
And that just got out of here in a hurry. So good that the Pirates got on the board and added some on. That quickly, it's a 4-1 ball game. Just went down and got it. That's that jet stream to right center field.
Yeah, earlier in the game, the wind was blowing strong gusts toward left field, blowing those balls in. Well, last several minutes, not much of a wind of which to speak, and Hazelbaker clubbed it into the right center field seats.
And I think there's a lot of difference between right center and down the line in terms of a wind that's even blowing out to left field. Down the line, it's going to kind of want to knock it down, but maybe toward right center field, it just maybe pushes it a little bit.
Just now, wind starts up a bit. 0-2 on Greg Garcia, his first at bat. With all the injuries the Cardinals have had to withstand since spring training, Jeremy Hazelbaker takes advantage. Makes the club out of spring training. Strike 3. Nice to see Nicasio come right back.
Exactly. I was watching that. So yeah, and he's been around enough to know, okay, that's not a game changer. Breaks the spell a little bit, but let's go back to work. Number 6. There's a fastball, a little bit up, but right on that outside corner. Might have had a little cut to it. If it did, that visual perception of a left-hand batter thinking that ball is going to stay out there, but all of a sudden it ducks back in a little bit, and they get the call in the corner.
Matt Carpenter, top of the order. He has struck out and flied to center. Hazelbaker broken up the string of Nicasio, having retired 10 straight Redbirds. Still, he has set down 16 of the 18 he's faced in the ball game, and if he can get 2 more outs, he could go, as Steve would say, be in the bonus round.
Yep.
After that.
The thing is, too, he hasn't walked anybody. I just love that. That's such a big deal. Not helping them out any. Not giving them more looks than they deserve.
And they do get the bullpen up. Archimedes Caminero. Clint Hurdle is not going to let Nicasio leave this start without feeling real good, and another strikeout. 7 punch-outs for Nicasio.
And that guy doesn't swing and miss too much.
Talking about Matt Carpenter.
Goes downstairs. That little cutter down underneath the strike zone, unhittable, but if you want to chase it, you're not going to get it. You're not going to do much with it, if anything.
Fired up after that home run. He's coming right back with back-to-back strikeouts. And now Stephen Piscotty.
He has been terrific tonight. But, 83 pitches, yeah.
In the air to right,
Stay
here comes
up.
Polanco, and yes indeed. Mr. Nicasio, impressive. So too was the Hazelbaker homer.
Pirates Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Barrel. Visit our brand new Kia showroom in Wexford. More vehicles than ever at the very best prices. Let's go Bucks!
Juan Nicasio, the hug from his manager and his pitching coach. What a performance. He will be heading back toward the clubhouse. Stephen Piscotty, the only damage in his outing tonight, his Pirates debut. Nicasio goes 6 innings, gives up 1 run on 2 hits, no walks, 7 strikeouts. This is his 71st career start, and for just the 4th time, going at least 6 innings without issuing 1 walk in his career. Reason to smile. And moments ago, Francisco Cervelli, his catcher, words of encouragement. That relationship, Steve, between the starting pitcher and his catcher. You, in fact, in a story, I want to say that the Trib earlier this year, spring training, detailed your relationships over the years with your catchers.
Yeah, it is. It's strong. You're a team. you're out there. It's like you and your catcher against the world. When it doesn't go well, he's with you. When you do pitch well, it's something you both celebrate. You get the credit for the win, but you don't forget your catcher. He's the guy that comes out and talks to you. He pats you on the back or gets in your face a little bit. It's like in your family. It's your buddy. It's your confidant. It's a big deal, especially when you consider, he's coming from a different team to a new team. He's got a guy that's going to speak his language. That's the first guy you connect with.
Sean Rodriguez bats for Nicasio after the walk to Mercer to start this bottom of the 6th. 84 pitches, 59 for strikes from Juan Nicasio. Is this going to be another reclamation project for
yeah, it is so far.
Ray Searage, and not just Ray Searage, as Neil Huntington points out. Ray will tell you other people, including Yuki Rojas, Euclides Rojas in the Pirates bullpen, and others in the system that have helped. There's a line drive to left field, nearing the fence, off the base of the wall. Sean Rodriguez doubles. Mercer going to be waved home. Here's the throw. He is safe. Sean Rodriguez doubles home. Mercer, the Pirates get the run right back and take a 5-1 lead.
Well, how about that? That's the way you answer. How about that down and in? How do you keep that ball fair? Well, you get the hands way in, and you find that left field corner, and you almost get that home run on that cheap part of the ballpark. And it's a long run for Jordy, and he's in there.
Aggressive base running. Rick Sofield with nobody out. Gamble pays off. Rodriguez gets the double and the RBI. Now Michael Morse will bat for Jaso, which means Rodriguez will stay in the game to play first base in the 7th inning. Last year's numbers combined with the Marlins and Pirates. Michael Morse pinch hit last night in the 9th inning and struck out against Trevor Rosenthal. Get that hand in there.
Gives him the sliding lane and the drive-by.
Esrod, yes. Inside to Morse. Batting for Jaso, who was 1 for 3. John Jaso tripled off the wall and right, leading off last inning and scored. We'll watch the rest of the action.
And you wonder how Mike Matheny will play the rest of this if it gets anywhere near out of hand with his bullpen. He'll want somebody out there to eat up some innings after using a lot of people last night. Might be Lyons that he wants to give him some help out of the bullpen, save some arms. But
Jonathan Broxton is up, and there's a high fly ball to left. Wynn trying to knock it down, and does. Rodriguez will tag and move up 90 feet. So productive out for Michael Morse.
We almost got enough of it.
Rodriguez taking advantage of the deep fly to left.
Holiday doesn't really throw all that well. That was an easy trip to third.
Matheny going to make the pitching change here. He wants Broxton to face McCutchen. Bucks look to add on another here, up 4 in the 6th.
Telecast is presented by the authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. More conversations between Francisco Cervelli and Juan Nicasio. Pirates up 5-1. Infield will come in. Andrew McCutchen faces Jonathan Broxton. McCutchen 1 for 3.
You know, that's another aspect of that relationship between catcher and pitcher. They'll talk after the game. Hey, I like doing that. I like that approach, that style. I want to do something different. That's good to not only have it together during the game, but before and after, especially after the review, what worked and what didn't.
Brings in Broxton to issue an intentional walk. I don't know how much Broxton likes that.
I was just thinking
you
of that.
figure if you're going to intentionally walk, that shouldn't be my man. It should be Tyler Lyon's man.
I know it. There's a great Pirate story about that. Bruce Delcan, the late Bruce Delcan, came into a game at Dodger Stadium, came in, and then I can't remember who was managing at the time, but said, all right, you're going to walk this guy intentionally. Then the Dodgers did something, and they took Bruce out. So he's on the hook for that run.
Man.
You should have seen him walk off the mound. And the look he gave our manager.
I'm sure Broxton won't say anything, but if that's the way you're going to play it, why wasn't Lyons the man?
Yeah, why? Yeah, what did? Pirates have had their way with Broxton many times in this ballpark. He has struggled mightily against the Bucks, painfully so on a couple occasions, and he might be in there to give Mike Matheny some innings tonight.
Right now, he's trying to keep it a 4-run deficit. So this game hasn't gotten away from the Cardinals yet. David Freese would like to change that. 1 for 3.
Yeah, you want to do everything you can to give Nicasio a cushion. You want this to be a squeaky clean win for the Pirates and a great debut for Juan Nicasio. You mentioned last night when we saw Broxton, former Dodger closer, with some 38 saves several years ago.
His numbers at PNC Park.
1194. Yeah, he's had some very difficult evenings here.
0-2 on Freese. Infield at double play depth. Gets a strikeout for the second out.
He's not happy with this call and had reason to discuss it with home plate umpire Trip Gibson. And David's been around long enough to know that you need to get every run you possibly can, and that's a frustrating way to leave the batter's box. Good night for Marte, except for getting hit in the ribs.
On base each of his 3 plate appearances. Could be a great night for Starling Marte here. Hitting cleanup. A 2-0 count now on Starling Marte. Over third. Sean Rodriguez doubled in Mercer. Moved to third on a flyout. McCutchen intentionally walked.
Well, what a great bit of hitting by Sean Rodriguez on that ball, down and in. Really a good pitcher's pitch.
We saw good numbers for Marte in his career against Broxton. Three and one. Cervelli has hit the ball hard a couple of times, doubled in a pair his last at bat. Away from the fastball, not what Marte was expecting. It's 3-2.
Yep, he went back to it again because the previous off-speed pitch, Starling was not on, so he has that return. Why not? He didn't have a good swing at the first one.
Full count. Starling Marte.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him stay with that same 85, 86 mile an hour off-speed pitch, slider, cutter, whatever it might be.
No. Struck him out.
Fastball right there, and a good one.
Back-to-back Ks for Broxton. Pirates get a run. Now the bullpen will take over. Juan Nicasio, 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, no walks, 7 strikeouts. Retired all but the 2 batters he faced. And some Point Park University tweets. Mark, I promise not to make even one single pun about Nicasio. Dang it. Jamie Baker, Nicasio's performance so far is making me wanna cheer. Terrible wordplay, deal with it. Another one bites the dust. Let's go Buccos. You started it, Glass. Now you got them all going.
Another one bites the dust. That's an interesting one.
Nicasio only wears one batting glove. Sean Rodriguez takes over at first base. New pitcher Archimedes Caminero facing Matt Holliday.
A good night for Caminero last night. Worked the 6th inning, 3 up, 3 down with a strikeout.
Faced Brandon Moss, Jed Jerko.
Busy year last year, 73 appearances, 5 wins.
Aledmys Diaz, the 3 batters he faced last night. And it is an interesting way that Clint Hurdle has used the bullpen the first 2 games. Talked about that today. He has used Tony Watson earlier than he has in the past, not the 8th inning, but the 7th inning each of the first 2 games, with Neftali Feliz working the 8th, and that, as he said, is based on matchups. Who's coming to the plate? In this case, the Cardinals.
A lot of lefties that were due up, and so he went to Tony.
Doesn't mean that it's going to be exclusively Feliz in the 8th, leading to Melanson. He will go back and forth with those 2 pitchers while Jared Hughes is out.
Close. Close, close, close.
Good call from Trip Gibson. Caminero shakes off Cervelli initially. Are they going to come to terms here? Yep. Struck him out looking.
No, Matt Holliday cannot complain about that. That was a perfect pitch. He won't like it. None of the hitters do, but that was a beauty. Yep.
Just barely nicked the corner. Brandon Moss, 102 is the reading on our bug up there on the left. Wow.
Could that have been just a 93-mile-an-hour changeup there?
Caminero was 2nd behind Aroldis Chapman in terms of triple digits on the readings last year. There's 100.
I'm just wondering, when he comes down like to 93, could that be a 2-seamer? He's trying to get more movement on it.
What an arm. Looks like maybe a slider at 92 from Caminero.
That's a pretty fast breaking pitch.
Oh, jammed him. Dribbled, goes back to being fair, and foul. How about that? You don't see that too often. Foul to fair to foul.
Yeah. And that last bit, that grass is so close to the chalk that if it gets off the grass, chances are that's going to take it across the line. There it is, foul. The spin takes it up close to that edge.
How about that?
That's this is under the watchful eye of Cervelli.
My gosh, how about that?
See how close that grass is? Yeah, that had all kind of English on it.
What's the slider?
See the target? Inside, inside.
Line and caught by by Sean Rodriguez.
Line drive, 3-3. Give him an assist and a put out.
Yeah.
Didn't get it far enough in. Defensive boards.
Two outs.
For not starting this ball game, Sean Rodriguez has had an interesting evening.
Yeah. RBI double, bottom of the 6th. Tag went to 3rd. Now out there, catching that liner by Moss. Here's Yadier Molina. My goodness, if Caminero figures it out, and there were times when you saw it, he was unhittable last year. And there were times he had some inconsistent stretches. As hard as he throws, he was still at times hit hard. There's 101. But Steve, if he figures this thing out, I mean, you talk about a lights out, forget about it bullpen.
Wind up having the need for just 5 innings out of your starters.
Toward left. Marte. And Arky Caminero works a 1-2-3 top of the 7th inning. We're going to keep it right here. Cool night in Pittsburgh. Pirate fans looking for an early season sweep of the St. Louis Cardinals. Something the Pirates have not done here at PNC Park. Sweep the opening 3-game series since 1973.
Sports as we sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Kenny Ross, Total Confidence Pricing, and by Levin Furniture, the official furniture and mattress supplier to the Pittsburgh Pirates. For the best quality, service, and value, shop Levin's. Let's go Bucks!
Bucks lead at 5-1, heading to the bottom of the 7th inning. As we said, the Pirates have not had an opening series sweep of at least 3 games since 1973. Steve, you started that sweep against the Cardinals at Three River Stadium.
Yeah, but I didn't get to win. They overcame a deficit to come back and win that game.
The Bucks got the win, though.
Yeah, the Bucks got the win.
That's all that matters. This guy's making his major league debut. Matt Bowman, a Row 5 pick from the New York Mets, and Matt Adams takes over at first base. Strike on Francisco Cervelli.
Chevy Chase, Maryland. Fiver.
Cervelli against Bowman. The Rule 5 player has to stay on the major league roster all year, or else if you try to assign him to the minors, he has to clear waivers. Numbers last year for this 24-year-old, and those numbers at AAA Las Vegas as a starter. He led the Pacific Coast League in losses. Was impressive this spring. And his first batter, Francisco Cervelli, strikes out. Tonight's Allegheny Health Network injury update. Jared Hughes threw off a slope for the first time. The next step for him would be to throw off a mound, which could happen in the next couple days. Hughes has been out since the middle of March, strained left lat muscle. Looking forward to getting Jared Hughes back. Allegheny Health Network injury update. Polanco on base 3 times, 3 walks. Headed towards second, and Hilton Wong can't handle it. Third error of the game for the Cardinals, the second charge to Wong.
Off the heel of the glove. Pirates and Reds, third game of this series. Reds, or the Cards, struggling with defense a good bit during this series.
Josh Harrison, 1 out of 3. He lined back to the starting pitcher Leake. The bases loaded in the first inning. A hard hit smash back to Leake. The Pirates scored their run in the first on a bases loaded walk to Gregory Polanco. They scored 3 in the 5th. John Jaso led off with a triple off the Clemente wall. Colton Wong charged with an error on his throw toward third to try and get Jaso. Came across the second run. David Freese, Starling Marte, back-to-back one-out singles. Then Francisco Cervelli brought him home with a double, broken bat roller. They get 1 for the second out. Get on board with the new Pirates 12-pack plan, fueled by Sheets. Lock in the best seats at PNC Park with a made-to-order plan or weekend plan, including postseason pre-sale opportunities and free food from Sheets. Get your 12-pack today at pirates.com/12-pack.
You know, you look at this kind of a situation. We've seen it so much with the Pirates. You look at a player on another team that's not having a great year, but you see something. Maybe the Cardinals have seen something in Bowman, even though he was struggling at AAA, and they bring him over. Maybe they can do what Ray Searage has done with a lot of our pitchers. And teams do that. They'll send people to look at somebody who might not be popping anybody's eyes out, but something that they like, and they'll follow him. Many times they'll try to get him. They've taken the shot with Bowman here. And that is a commitment. That's a big item to put somebody in the active roster for a year.
Bowman out of Princeton.
There's only so many slots on that roster.
Yes, he did.
I still can't believe they named a town after that comedian.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
He had a pretty good run. Yeah.
Clark Griswold, you mean?
Yep, Sparky.
Yep. 0-2 on Jordy Mercer. 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored.
Never thought he was very nice to Jane Curtin, but that's a different story.
Right.
Cardinals having all kind of trouble with the baseball.
Bowman. Scoreless 7th.
And he is one of the Pirates' off-field additions they made this season. He's the Pirates' new physical therapist, and he's just the latest in keeping together a long family tradition of being employed by the Pittsburgh Pirates. It started 91 years ago, back in 1925, with his grandfather, Howard Mangold, who worked as an usher for 60 years. Now, Otis keeps that shirt right there that belonged to his grandfather that he wears an usher in his locker right now, along with a photo of the guys who worked for both the 1927 and 1960 World Series Pirates teams. Now, Otis is a Pittsburgh guy, born and raised, went to Central Catholic High School, and he credits his grandfather, Greg and Steve, for his love of Pirates baseball, listening to the Gunner as a kid on the back porch. And here he is today, very proudly keeping the family tradition going of working for the Buccos. Good stuff from Otis Fitzgerald.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin Otis Fitzgerald lives in Shadyside with his wife Amy, couple of children, Maren Shea and Josh Gibson Fitzgerald. Of course, Kevin, his brother, is the Allegheny County executive Rich Fitzgerald.
What a legacy.
Colton Wong leads off against Caminero, so Clint Hurdle going to try and get a couple innings out of the hard-throwing Caminero.
2 base runners for the Cardinals tonight, playing in the 8th inning.
And 1. Strike 2. Walked up. The third base runner. Wong on base twice. Day Automotive presents this day in Pirates history. 2009, Bucks score 4 in the 9th inning. Come back and beat the Cardinals. Adam LaRoche, an RBI single to bring the Bucks within 1. Then Brandon Moss hit by a pitch, loading the bases. Jack Wilson came through with a bases clearing double and a 6-4 Pirates win back in 2009 on this date.
You have broken some Cardinal hearts, haven't we, along the way?
Especially recently here at PNC Park, where the Pirates have won 10 of their last 14 against the Redbirds, 21 of their last 30. Andrew McCutchen was part of breaking their hearts leading up to the All-Star break, that game-winning extra-inning home run. Gregory Polanco's RBI single the next night swept the Pirates into the All-Star break. They lost the first game of that 4-game series, then won the next 3 against the Cardinals. Finished the season series winning 9 of the 19 played versus the Redbirds. The Pirates have a distinct advantage here, as evidenced by those numbers, winning 21 of the last 30 at PNC Park. Meanwhile, the Cardinals have a great home field advantage at Busch against the Pirates. Clint Hurdle going to hit somebody up and loosening. Mark Melanson is getting ready for the 9th, but Tony Watson might be coming on in the 8th. Two and two.
Speaking of Mr. Watson, get the windmill going.
Caminero trying to get Matt Adams his first plate appearance. Full count. Don't want to walk him. Don't want to give these Cardinals an opportunity. Pirates up by 4. Jeremy Hazelbaker homered in the 6th off Juan Nicasio, the only blemish in his Pirates debut. .99, and Adams turned on it. Second year in a Pirates uniform for Archimedes Caminero, former Marlin. Pirates traded for him February last year. Back to the slider, and Adams able to foul it off. 75 innings last year for Caminero as a rookie, struck out 73. He won his first major league game against the Cardinals on July the 12th.
He's got to throw a strike right here. Stay in this ball game.
He'll have to throw another. Follow Pirates Baseball live with the MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Struck him out.
Doesn't seem like it was such a big situation. 5-1 ball game for a run lead, but it was. Not a perfect pitch, but it got the outside corner. Kind of a backdoor breaking ball. When you fool him, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Hazelbaker at the plate. Hurdle on the phone, checking on Watson. Left-handed hitting Greg Garcia is on deck. A good chance we would see Watson if they don't get the double play. They get the double play, and fancy work from Jay Hay and Jordy Mercer.
Yeah, that was interesting at second base.
They might challenge this. So the Pirates are going to hang around on the field, and they are going to challenge it.
Yeah.
Looks like Mercer was surprised by the flip.
The backhand flip.
He's going to be safe.
Yeah, you saw Jordy kind of back off a little bit, and that disrupted the rhythm of the play. Although Hazelbaker can fly anyway, so any little glitch would give him first base. It shouldn't take long. But of course it will.
What are they discussing here? You know, I wonder, is it possible they're talking about the slide by Garcia? Well, there was a lot of, or by Wong rather. He does start his slide. Now, he changes his path. I wonder if Clint Hurdle's telling them, hey, when you check, ask New York to check this slide.
Well, maybe.
Remember the controversy by Jose Bautista yesterday. The Blue Jays, Tampa Bay thought they had scored a couple of runs. Watch this. This is how the game would end. Now, the tying run they thought scores on this play. Watch Bautista with that left hand go after the right ankle of Logan Forsythe. Throws it away. They check it. John Gibbons, the manager of the Blue Jays, livid that the call goes against him. They rule it a double play, and the game ended that way.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with sliding lanes. You can't grab the other player.
Yeah. It's a Cardinals challenge. And maybe Clint Hurdle says, okay, and this has happened before where one manager challenges and then the other manager says, well, we'll challenge. Watch Wong change his path. You're not supposed to do that. And according to this new Rule 601.
He's obviously safe there.
Yep.
I can't believe they're going to call anything on that slide direction.
Bona fide slide is what they call it.
Did you see anything wrong with that slide? Really?
Well, if by the rule, you're not supposed to change your path.
This is getting absurd.
Here are the rules, the new slide rule. Runner shall be called for interference if he does not engage in a bona fide slide, doesn't slide before the base, doesn't attempt to or is unable to reach the base, doesn't attempt to or is unable to remain on the base, changes his path to the base to initiate contact. Well, that's what he did. Engages in a roll block, elevates or kicks leg to intentionally initiate contact. So by the rule, Wong changed his path.
To make contact. So you can't make contact anymore.
You can if you don't change your path. So let's see what they do here. And he is safe. Now Clint Hurdle says, you want to challenge that? Oh, and he's safe too. So they looked at both. And New York says that Wong's slide was okay. Jordy Mercer spent some time on the disabled list last year. What's Wong going out to second base for?
I heard
what is Wong doing at second base?
Well, he went over to say hello to Josh Harrison.
Also checked the neighborhood play. That was bizarre. And then the umpire said, "No, you are out."
Well, the umpires initially were down there. They did a double safe thing.
I think he did it to the first base bag, though. I think that was because the Pirates said, "Check that slide rule," and so Jerry Lane said he is safe at first. He beat the throw. He's also safe because it was a bona fide slide by Wong, I think. That's hit hard to right. Off the bat of Greg Garcia. And the ball just dies there. Runner will be held at third with 2 outs, second and third. Garcia doubles off Caminero, and that might be it for Caminero as Watson is ready.
Third baseman, Matt Carpenter.
Watch again Jerry Lane, the crew chief. He points, safe at first base, and then he looks at Hurdle and he says, it looked like he was saying, and the slide was okay too, because Hurdle asked about that. And the Pirates manager is going to make a change. And we're confirming what New York did. They did review the slide. They said there was no violation by Colton Wong. So that's exactly what Jerry Lane was indicating. Now it's up to Tony Watson to get the final out here in the 8th. Moments ago was talking to Jerry Lane about all that. They're trying to protect these players, and I guess people are tired of us complaining about it, but you said, I think, when they changed the catcher's blocking rule, Steve, a couple years ago, they're trying to sterilize the game so nobody gets hurt. Yep. Here's Tony Watson facing Matt Carpenter with 2 on and 2 outs. Ball 1 on Matt Carpenter. But the next time a star gets hurt and placed on the DL by being hit by a pitch, you want to protect the players? What do you do then? If something's going to happen, they're going to look at that rule. Out of play. Well, this is the playoff that Chase Utley barrels over Ruben Tejada. And Jung Ho Kang, of course, got hurt, was on the DL late in the year, but this is the one that appeared to really put this all in motion. Calling that the Utley rule. Matt Carpenter bouncing to second. Oh man, a fortuitous hop for Josh Harrison, able to stab that ball in the air to get the final out. Josh Harrison, that ball came up and maybe got him in the throat, talking to Ben Potenziano on the Pirates training staff.
Right off his glove. And he didn't quit on the play.
Sean Rodriguez facing this rookie, Matt Bowman.
Baseball gets up in the area of your throat, that you hold your breath. That could be severe.
Pirate fans who've been around a long time, I'm sure, harken back to Tony Kubek, right?
Yeah.
The 1960 World Series, Yankee shortstop.
Bill Verdon hit the ball.
Bill Verdon hit the ball that kept the inning alive, as Harrison points to the area where it got him.
And that paved the way for the Hal Smith home run.
Yep. Classic World Series 1960. The Pirates are hoping to get back to the Fall Classic. And all begins with this opening series. The work of a 162-game schedule.
Speaking of Bill Verdon, we wish him well. He's really had a very difficult winter. Didn't see him in Florida. He and Shirley missing Florida for the first time in I don't know how many years. I mean, a ton of years.
He lives in the St. Louis area, does he not?
Yep, Springfield. And just thoughts go out to them. They're one of the best in the business.
We should quail the best.
Yep.
Sean Rodriguez draws a leadoff walk. Nissan rode ahead for the Red Series. Liriano will go up against Alfredo Simon. He is back in Cincy. Liriano's second start of the year. Garrett Cole makes his 2016 debut Saturday afternoon against Raciel Iglesias. Jeff Locke makes his season debut against TBA to be announced. The Reds.
What Alfredo Simon, 13-2 with an ERA over 5. Pretty good offensive
The Tigers
support
last year.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole ready to go. Matt Joyce will pinch hit. One of the new Pirates. He bats for Watson. Joyce was a pinch hitter in the 6th inning last night and struck out. He pinch hit in the 7th inning on Sunday and drew a free pass. Drew a lot of walks down in Florida during spring training. The high on base percentage guy over the years. Former Tampa Bay Ray. Signed a minor league free agent deal with the Pirates. The strike is called, and Corey Lupke, if it looks like is going to be making his Pirates debut since it's a non-save situation. 4-run lead.
Well, his fellow lefty was very good last night.
Kyle Lobstein.
Yep.
Two and two on Matt Joyce. One of 3 non-roster players added to the 40-man roster before the season began on Sunday. Pirates signed him 3rd week of February. That non-roster minor league deal, an invitee to spring training. Two balls, 2 strikes, and he's caught looking. Penguins continue their last week of regular season games. Tomorrow they head to DC, face off against the Capitals. Coverage starts at 6:30 with Penn's pregame presented by Heritage Valley Health System on Root Sports. Good luck, Pens.
Big finish to the regular season.
What a finish. What a stretch. There's Kyle Lobstein.
Working the charts.
Got the win last night, a couple of scoreless innings. Andrew McCutchen on base twice.
Bad hair day.
Base hit. Puts runners at 1st and 3rd.
be a nice little deke job by Rodriguez going around second base. Give him an extra 90 feet. This ball was smoked. So he had a chance to get there and got there.
Good work, Sean Rodriguez. Don't know if they'd have had a play on him, but
yeah, he had to wait because that ball had a chance of getting caught.
Might have been doubled off, but he's at third. Runners at the corners for David Freese.
Let's give a little cushion for Luque.
There it is.
Double play possibility. And it is. Oh, well done by Mark Bowman. A couple of scoreless innings in his major league debut. Corey Luque make his Pirates debut. After tonight's game, Pirates will be on the road and their first stop in Cincinnati. See the Buccos take on the Reds Friday starting at 6:30 with Pirates pregame presented by WB Mason on Root Sports. 5-1 Bucks on to the ninth.
Looking for 3 outs. Everybody looking for 3 outs.
Again, the last time the Pirates opened the season at home with a 3-game sweep was 1973. Corey Luque hasn't appeared at a big league game since April 27th of 2012. Long road back for this young man out of Ohio State, drafted by the San Diego Padres.
After refusing to sign with the Pirates. Initially selected by the Bucks, and Texas also didn't sign, but moved up on the draft list and was part of that first round supplemental pick.
Two Tommy John surgeries kept him out of all of 2013, all of 2014. Then on his way back, a staph infection kept him out for a while. So he appeared in only 7 games last year. 3 different levels of the Padres organization. You're talking about since the 2011 season, a total of 12 professional games. That includes 5 with the Padres in that 2012 year.
He's won 10 major league games.
Well, we talked about, you know, Mark Bowman and the big league, Matt Bowman rather, the major league debut tonight for him. The rookie Jeremy Hazelbaker, first big league home run. And the first batter that Corey Lupke faces in nearly 4 years in the big leagues is retired.
Step number 1 after all that stuff, patience, perseverance.
What do you think, Steve? I mean,
That's
having
incredible.
played in the major leagues and professional baseball, how hard it is to get there.
When you're healthy.
And then to undergo 2 Tommy John surgeries almost back to back.
It's hard to fathom, too. There have been other guys that have done 2 of them, but it's incredible. The second one's got to be devastating. Okay, I went through all this first business, recovery, therapy, sitting around, and now I got to do it again.
What a story. Corey Lupke, 31 years old. Faces Matt Holliday.
Frustrating night for Holliday, 0 for 3. Retired on a good play by Mercer, first time up, and then calls third strike from Caminero. And not so fast, my friend. Corey gets a call. It'll be a TV show. Corey gets a call.
He walks Matt Holliday with 1 out. Corey Lupke from Maria Stein, Ohio, toward the western part of the state. Marion local high school. And then, as Steve said, decided to forego his professional career, not signed with the Pirates after being drafted. Went into playing at Ohio State. First big league appearance with the Padres 2010, and then spent the 2011 year, the entire season with San Diego. Went 6-10 with a 3.29 ERA. So a lot of attention tonight will be on Juan Nicasio, and rightfully so, for his dynamic start. 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, no walks, 7 strikeouts. But not lost on all this is what Lupke is doing, and in case a batter reaches Mark Melancon. Ripped foul by Grichuk.
Didn't lose a step from spring trainings. Great work. Just picked it right up where he left off. Struck out the 2 first batters of the game.
They're Redbirds.
Not so happy tonight.
Which they can take heart if they do lose tonight. They also began the 2011 year 0-3, and they went on to win the World Series 2-2. And that man led the way in the postseason, David Freese, for the St. Louis Cardinals in 2011. The MVP. 2-2 on Grichuk. Big pitch from Lupke. Clint Hurdle would prefer to keep Melancon in the bullpen and let Lupke finish on a high note. 6'4", 210 pounds. Now lives in Nashville. Yes, he did on the appeal. Corey Lupke strikes out Randall Grichuk.
Another first in a long time. Major league strikeout. The Brooms.
1973, the last time a Pirates team started the home schedule, the season, with 3 straight home victories against one team. Steve Blass was a part of that ball club against the Cardinals of all teams. John Jaso tonight, the triple. Big part of this. It was in the 5th inning. Pirates scored 3 times. And it's not over yet. Base hit. And now it becomes a save situation, and Clint Hurdle is going to go to his closer. It appears.
He's on the step. As soon as Wong is announced, the trip to the mound will be made, and he wants Melancon.
It's interesting, despite Wong's struggles against left-handed pitching, this is almost automatic for every manager in the game these days. When it becomes a save situation, closer comes in. Corey Lupke back on a big league mound. We'll be back in this big league ballpark in a moment.
The Pirates look for out number 27. Mark Melancon will appear in the first 3 games of the season. And he becomes the 5th Pirate pitcher of the evening. Quick word with Trip Gibson about something. Just one sailor.
Doesn't happen too often when Pirates closer is used. Usually a clean inning, but
don't want this to go any further.
Yep.
Right now, put the lid on it. Send everybody home happy. Off day tomorrow, and then go at it with the Reds.
Wong faced Melancon opening day on Sunday, and he was hit by a pitch. Tonight, on base twice. One of just 2 hits against Nicasio. Led the majors in saves last year, and trying to pick up save #1 for 2016.
Let's see if he can do it on 2 pitches.
Couple of strikes. We'll remind you the Pirates return to PNC Park next week against the Tigers Wednesday night. No, fans wanted it.
Or did they ever?
Vocal 14,890 on a cool evening. Pirates trying to start 2016 exact opposite of 2015 when they began the year 0-3. A pitch away from starting this year 3-0. Toward third. Nice stop. Freeze the flip. Got him. Raise the Jolly Roger. Sweep the Cardinals to start 2016.
And a nice smooth play for the 27th out. Nicely done by the veteran David Freese. Over to second base. That's done.
Melanson, before the handshakes, went to the home plate umpire Trip Gibson. The Pirates' first 3-0 start since 2007, but their first 3-game sweep at home to begin a year since the 1973 Pirates against the St. Louis Cardinals. Yep, the broom's out.
What a way to start. What a way to start against a team that won 100 last year. And you know, there's never any guarantees, but they're going to go over to Cincinnati, and it's going to be a struggling year for the Cincinnati Reds. So maybe they can keep this thing going. They've got their start going on Saturday, making his first start. So we'll hope for good things from Ohio.
Well, good things from Pennsylvania. Here in Pittsburgh, Juan Nicasio gets the win in his Pirates debut. A lot of good stuff to talk about with Robin Teague.
Greg and Steve, thanks very much. And Teague, when you look at this, you know, one of the themes in spring training was start faster. So I think there's reason to be happy about this 3-0 start, especially at the hands of the Cardinals. You and I were talking off air, never too soon to start beating the Cardinals, especially when you consider what happened to the Pirates at the beginning of last season.
Right, you know, the 3-0 start is great, and, you know, that's the way you want to get out of the gate. You want to get a good feel about yourself. But also, you know, to do it against the Cardinals, you remember the last couple of years, the Pirates have fallen behind the Cardinals in April and have been chasing them the rest of the year. It's nice to get out in front. Doesn't mean the month's over, but nonetheless, they got a great start against a very good ball club.
All up and down this lineup. Production for the Pirates, including with the catcher Francisco Cervelli, who's standing by with Robbie Inspikowski.
Yeah, a 2-run double by Francisco Cervelli in the 5th that helped blow this game open and lead to the opening series sweep of the St. Louis Cardinals. Francisco, how's this team able to put it together in so many different phases and start so fast here at home?
Well, we just try to do everything on the control, day by day, and just play hard the way we've been doing it, and that's it.
Juan Nicasio, fantastic story, had a fantastic spring. Why was he so good tonight in his Pirates debut?
Well, he was able to go on the corners. His fastballs is heavy. Slider was great, so he's been doing the same thing since spring training.
What has led to your success early on in the season, Francisco?
Well, I think the confidence that I got in the team, the support of the fans, and we just come here, focus every day, and try to win games.
When you see a guy like Corey Lupke enter a game after so much he's had to overcome, 2 Tommy John surgeries, a staph infection, and get his way back into the big leagues, how do you feel for a guy like that?
Well, it's an example for the kids and for everybody, you know. Never is too late. You got to keep trying and keep trying. And I'm happy for him.
Thank you, Francisco.
Thank you very much.
Rob King, Francisco Cervelli, and the Pittsburgh Pirates. How about that? A sweep to open up the season.
It is a great way to start the season. Ravi and Francisco, thanks very much. You know, we saw the first two pitching performances, obviously, Liriano terrific. Jonathan Nice goes in game 2. Then in game 3, a guy I think a lot of people were looking forward to after his great spring. It's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And Juan Nicasio did not disappoint, T.
No, absolutely not. You know, he had an outstanding spring by far. You know, didn't give up any earned runs and was just throwing lights out. The guy that came over with a reputation of having command issues did not have any at all in spring training. Tonight, 6 innings, a couple hits, just a 1 run, 7 strikeouts, didn't walk a batter. He has been phenomenal since he got it together right before the game started down in Florida. So, yeah, Nicasio is continued tonight what he built in Florida, and that's a great, great sign because this is a different atmosphere. This is a different place. These games now count. You're in the big league stadium. Your team needs you to win baseball games right now. His performance didn't waver at all.
Away from Coors Field, again, credit to Neil Huntington and his staff, Ray Searage and the pitching coaches for the Pirates and his entire staff, and of course Juan Nicasio himself, obviously. Great performance from him. He is 1-0 as a Bucco. The Pirates are 3-0 on the season. Coming up, we'll have complete highlights, post-game reaction. We'll check back in with Greg and Steve, highlights from around the league and more. Coming up next on Pirates Postgame.